Hey everybody, it's Alex here with Fly Fish Fork. Um, didn't I didn't send a report in today. I know a lot of you guys look for it, and sorry I couldn't get to it. We had all kinds of stuff going on, including the great blizzard of 2026 so far. It shut everybody down around here pretty pretty quickly, and it was so cold outside I couldn't come out and do a video where I like to do them. So I want to talk a little bit today about fly fishing on Lake Fork. If you decide you want to get out and give it a shot, right now I don't know what the water temperature is. It's probably way down there in the low 40s. Maybe I doubt it. It could be into the 30s. I just don't know. I haven't been out there. So but on the fishing report, you'll be able to find that water temperature. But we should be going into a pre-spawn phase in February. That's when it generally gets started. And honestly, this cold weather and this ice and snow and all this stuff that we're having, I think is a really good thing for the health of the fish in the lake. It needs to go through its seasons. You need to have that really cold water, and then it kind of gets the fish's clock right, where they know at some point when they get enough sunshine coming through the water, the wind lays down a little bit, the conditions present themselves to where the fish decide to move up into their kind of pre-spawn locations, and that'll be the bigger fish. The big females will come up and start kind of hanging around those trees in that 8 to 10 to 12 foot range. And then at some point here in another couple of weeks, again, sort of depending on the weather, of course, the warmer the water, the better. The little males will come up and start kind of cruising the shoreline and looking for places to build a nest before they go out and hustle up a hot chick and bring her into it later. So, also, our lake is still about 3 feet low. All the moisture we've had hasn't really been the kind to lift the lake, but hopefully that'll come soon. So we're still about 3 feet low. That's okay. We have a ton of grass growing already underneath in that shallow stuff. Just be super careful when you're on this lake. There are sandbars where you have no idea they are, especially when you get into the mouths of some of these bigger creeks like Little Caney. There's a big sandbar out there people get stuck on all the time. Also, of course, you've got to be super, super careful about stumps right now, even if you're a little bit off of your channel. If you're not quite on your mark, you're not quite in the dead ass middle of the creek, you will hit a stump. Be super, super careful and don't get in a big hurry because it's really unsafe. So that being said, if you have some clouser type baits or any sort of a bait that you can drop down into those trees in that 10 or 12 foot range, and of course if you have forward-facing sonar, you can see the fish, but I don't use that stuff. That's where I would look for them at this point. I'd look in the 10 or 12 foot range right now, and then I would look for smaller fish in a couple of weeks. We don't even really need to talk about them yet. Those little male bass, they have been up. We have been catching a very few of them if you cover a lot of territory, but then the weather changed and got really cold. So I'm assuming, having not been out there, that it sent them back down where they would normally be. So I wouldn't spend too much time on that. I would also fish around boat docks a lot. And anywhere that you have a creek channel close to the bank, even if it's for a turn in the creek where it's a short section that has, a deep hole in front of it or something, that's where I would be spending my time, because those bigger bass are going to use that creek channel as their kind of their thoroughfare. That's their little highway, and whatever they do, they're going to want to be near I'm going to have to hold this thing. They want to be near deeper water in case another one of these ice storms come in and they feel like they need to get down deep. So also look on your electronics, look for the shad schools, and there's tons of them. They're in these creeks. We've had tons and tons and tons of shad, and a lot of times those bigger fish will be down below those pods of shad, those schools of shad, and you can see them, but not always. The bass are always going to be looking for somewhere to hide, so you're not going to always see them. But fish down through those schools of shad if you can, and it's likely that you could pick a fish up that's down kind of hanging below them wanting to feed. Now let's talk about crappie on Lake Fork. They have been catching up until this cold weather hit. They were actually catching them walking around the creeks, catching them super shallow in some of the creeks up in the northern end of the lake, and they're full of eggs. And the ones they're catching in the deeper water are full of eggs. So these crappie are going to get a early spawn in, and that's again, we're coming into February, and that's when I would expect to see crappie coming up and finding places around the shallow bank. I would look for brush, and I would use, and I did this last year, it worked really well for me. I used a really small clouser that just had some white and just a very sparse, it didn't have to have very much material on it. It's very sparse, a little bit of deer hair, I tied a bunch of them up, and a little bit of flashaboo, something give it a little bit of flash, but real small. And I was throwing it right on the bank this time of year, and I was catching a slew of crappie. So once they move up in there, and you'll find them in pockets like you always do, you'll find a stretch of bank or something like that, and it'll have some crappie in there. I think that right now that's going to be my best report for here. I will tell you that I have another little lake not far from here. I'm not sure I want to tell you the name of it, because every time I do, I get hate mail from the people that live around. But I can tell you that I went out with a client 10 days ago or so, and we really had a great time catching chain pickerel and black bass. And we caught some actually quality fish. So send me a message, Alex at flyfishfork.com, and if you're interested in finding where that is, and if you want to go out and maybe even hire a fly guide, that would be me, to take you out. So I hope, be safe. The water's cold. Be super safe when you're out there. If it's windy, the last time I fell in my boat, it fell in the waters when the wind knocked me into a stump, not my boat into a stump. So be super careful. Be super careful. Take someone with you and let someone know where you're going, just in case. Be safe. Have fun. Tight lines. We'll see ya. Well,